Hey guys, this is Eve. Thanks for tuning into my channel. This channel is dedicated to basically exploring various topics of the metaphysics, looking at them from a very occult standpoint. I'm pretty much out and about today. I'm trying to kind of get out and try to get grounded, trying to do stuff to take care of myself, pamper myself, and I don't know, just pretty much try to find some type of balance and stability, what have you. My consciousness is very high at this point, and so it's very difficult to I don't know, just kind of do regular mundane things. So I feel like, if I kind of, get out, spruce myself up, go shopping, do some things for myself, I feel like maybe I can be a little bit more present, or whatever the case is. This video actually, I'm going to talk a little bit in this video about about the Whore of Babylon. Okay, this has been kind of like sitting on me for a while. I think I've done a video before on the Whore of Babylon, but the Whore of Babylon is very much misunderstood, from the occult standpoint. A lot of people, they what should you say, a lot of people, they see the Whore of Babylon as like some type of filthy whore. She's a horrible person, and she she's like fornicated with all the kings of the earth and like slept her way to the top, and all that stuff, or whatever the case is. But the thing is that when the fact that our planet, or what have you, is ascending, and so we're getting access to knowledge that's not just understanding, but overstanding. When you have an overstanding of knowledge, it erases the understanding knowledge, the knowledge that you know as an ego. But when you start to become your more subconscious and get access to the subconscious or astral body, or the devil, the veil of your ego, then you start to see things more clearly. Okay, so human beings tend to judge. We tend to judge. We're like, oh, you're a whore, you're a slut, and so because of that, you should be judged. But no. The thing is that, and I know this is going to come as a surprise to everyone, but everyone here is a whore. Everyone here is a whore of Babylon, okay? And you may say to yourself, oh my gosh, like really? Yes, superficially speaking, it's the truth. Because the thing is that whenever you are reincarnated here, your soul gets taken away. As you can see, I'm black, but I'm lighter, okay? So the next incarnation, I'm going to be a lot lighter. That means my race changes, okay? So the thing is that when you are born into the matrix, they take away your melanin. So you go through all the races. So eventually, you will be a soulless, blonde-haired, blue-eyed person, okay? You won't have any melanin. So your soul is connected to your melanin, right? That's why black people are considered soul sisters and soul brothers, right? Our food is soul food, or our music is considered to be soul, right? So it's very important for people to understand that the soul, right, corresponds to Jesus, right? Now, Jesus is your solar plexus, okay? Now, I understand people are like, Jesus existed and his name was Yeshua and all that stuff. Well, when we get into the occult, all that gets erased, okay? All that information is erased. Jesus represents your soul, or your solar plexus. That's why Jesus, the allegorical depiction of Jesus, you'll see him, holding a heart in chains, because he is the Son of God. So your solar plexus is responsible for your heart. It's responsible for your desire. It's responsible, let me turn my AC down. It's responsible for your desire, for your will, what you want to do. If you look up and you research the solar plexus, it says your will and your creativity. So when you're reborn every single I guess what you would say incarnation, your will is taken away from you. You have to follow rules, you have to follow laws and things like that. If you break those rules and those laws, you actually suffer consequences. Okay, you suffer consequences. So this is this is very disheartening, or what have you, that every time we come here, we can't necessarily do what we want to do here. And even your creativity is taken away. A lot of the products that we consume aren't products that we created. Someone created it for you. You don't have enough time to, create your shoes or your clothes or create that car that you want or what have you. You don't have the time or money to do so. So this is corresponding to Saturn. All right. Saturn is the planet of manifestation. And so the thing is that because we don't have ownership of Saturn, that planet of consciousness, that planet, right, then it's devolved in this particular reality. So your solar plexus, like I said, which is responsible for your will and your creativity, is connected to your sex organs, right? Okay, so this is the area where your sex organs are. This is where we actually carry our babies, okay? So we carry our babies where, where the solar plexus is. So when that chakra gets out of balance, it will, I guess what you would say, affect sexuality in a very perverse type of way. And if it is so severely impacted, it can turn into violence. That's why they say serial killers, they get sometimes a sexual charge from killing and exerting their will over someone. It deals with the solar plexus, the soul, all right? Remember, Jesus is depicted with his soul, his heart, his desire in chains, okay? He's the Son of God. Solar means sun. So with that being said, and knowing that our will and our creativity is taken away from us, right? Every child is willful. They don't want to follow rules and laws and things like that. They've just come from the spiritual realm. But eventually we get pressed out by the religions and the education and our familial structure and everything, media and entertainment, and we become docile. We become less willful. You know what I mean? And so we just kind of fall in line and fall in place, and then we know if we step out of place, then we're going to get popped or whatever the case is. So with that being said, someone who keeps reincarnating, right? So you could say for me, I'm a Pisces ascendant in Vedic astrology. Pisces in astrology is considered to be the sign of sacrifice. Okay, it's sacrifice. It's where you don't have a soul. You don't have a soul. So I'm an ascendant Pisces. So as I'm ascending, I really don't have very much of a soul at all. I know it's hard for me to say that. It's like, really? Like, oh, she's evil. In a way, you can kind of say, yeah, okay. But the way that we think of Eve, right? Evil is not the way that we think of it in the occult. In the occult, evil is you are absent of Eve. So Eve is the emotions or what have you. So the thing is that, there's some beings that walk among you that they don't have a whole lot of emotions. They're more intellectual. They look at things in more black and white, as opposed to looking at something and considering the feelings or what have you. So I more function in my day-to-day life, I would say, as like a computer. Okay. And so that's not right or what have you, or it's not, I would say it's not right, but it's not balanced. You should have a balance of the emotions and the intellect, or the left and the right brain, or Adam and Eve, or whatever the case you want to call it. So I'm embodying more of my Lilith placement. And so your Lilith, going back to Jewish mythology, Lilith is the first incarnation. All right, it represents your first incarnation, which for me is very much perverted at this point. And so I have to really keep my Lilith placement in check, because I have my Lilith in Libra. So Lilith in Libra is all about beauty and refinement and love and, and that type of thing, and the balance of relationships and, justice and stuff like that. But Lilith in Libra is perverted justice. It perverts relationships and things like that. Lilith uses a lot of the attributes of that sign of Libra in order to wreak havoc and cause destruction. So this is, having access to this subconscious aspect of myself, really is quite shocking, because I have my moon and my Venus in Libra. And so, your moon represents what makes you feel happy and loved and whole and that type of thing. And so I value relationships and I respect relationships on one aspect, but then with the Lilith placement there, it's not so much. So a lot of people, a lot of the 144,000 have placements in their Vedic natal chart that are, I call them crucifixion placements, where you have like these major contradictions. Like I have Saturn and Jupiter and Virgo. So Saturn is restriction, whereas Jupiter is expansion. And so that does not do well, excuse me, at all for somebody that's like me. Okay, so want you to know that, after you've reincarnated so many times, right? You're a Pisces sun, Pisces ascendant. You don't have very much soul left. Your soul, you kind of adapt to people's energy. You don't really have much of a barrier of energy for yourself. You know what I mean? Like if I encounter somebody that's sad, I'm sad. If I encounter someone that's happy, I'm happy. It's very interesting, because people who are Pisces, right? You have like a Pisces ascended, like in your Vedic chart, or a Pisces sun, or you have like strong Pisces or whatever in your natal chart. You have pockets of consciousness that are existing in other time-space realities. I know, right? And a lot of people are just like, what? Like, what is she talking about? That's some crazy Harry Potter bullshit, right? But you actually exist in other times, like, Lemuria and like Atlantis and in Egypt and so forth. So your soul is so old that it has been reincarnating since those so-called quote-unquote mythological, some of the mythological civilizations. Okay, so that means that the soul has been taken away each time you reincarnate. So in some time-space realities, you are appearing as a different race. You could be black, you could be Asian, you could be white, and you could also be absent of all of that. And so you can have no soul, which is no melanin. Okay, you are blonde hair and blue-eyed. And so these are what you would call extraterrestrials, and in the New Age. But an extraterrestrial is not exactly what we think of it in the occult. Extraterrestrial just means beyond the body. So extra means beyond, and terra means land. So you're beyond the body. You're beyond the land. Okay. So every human being is a universe. You can think of it, so to speak. And so when you're beyond your body and you're more in tune with the mind or what have you, then you're lacking soul. You're lacking soul. Life begins at the root chakra. Everyone's mom and dad got together, right, with their genitals together. Literally, that's your root, where the sex organs are. And so where your sex organs are, where your root chakra and where your, your sacral chakra is, those are your life chakras. It gives you your will and your creativity and what you want to do and how you make an impact on the world. Whereas when you're ascending to your third eye and your crown chakra, right, that's why Jesus dies with a crown of thorns, because once consciousness gets up to this particular chakra, you are more governed by your subconscious, or the devil, the veil of your ego. You are no longer governed by Jesus, which is your will, right? Which is, your root chakra is your moolah, the moolah dahara. People say, give me some moolah. Moolah means money. It means money. And so, your moolah dahara is where life begins. And so the fact that the New Age pushes a lot of intellectual things and meditation and getting in touch with the mind is just a death doctrine actually. It's designed to actually destroy, I guess a Jew would say, your physical existence. Okay. So, I don't think that it's bad to actually get access to these upper chakras or whatnot. But it's important for you to bring that down to your navel. Bring it down to your, your soul, your solar plexus. You see what I'm saying? This is where life is. And so, if you don't have a soul, then you cannot exist. And so, I really wanted to, talk about the Whore of Babylon and the fact that, hey, this is just a soul, a polarized soul that basically has been reincarnated so many times that she's not able to bring the masculine aspect of herself into the physical. And so because of that, it creates what you would call a whore in the astral realm. Although this person is more of a saint in the, or is a saint, I should say, in the physical realm. And so there's a total discrepancy between the two chakra systems, the upper chakras and the lower chakras. So when this person goes to sleep at night, and eventually when they actually transition out, they're just a horrible demon. However, when they, are conscious, right, or aware, then they're a saint. Okay, they're a saint. So, I'm very much lacking in soul, and like I said, I do little things to try to, to get grounded and things like that, but it's very difficult. I've tried to, I don't know, so many different things, so many different regimens, and and things like that. I'm definitely interested in Tantra and white Tantra. And so white Tantra is basically when you actually copulate with someone, particularly your soulmate, to stimulate your energy or what have you. And it's kind of like a false way to, I guess as you would say, jumpstart your battery. Like your Muladhara, if you will, which is your root, because my roots are really messed up, and a lot of roots of black women are messed up or what have you. So it's it goes back to a lot of abuse and things like that at childhood and so forth. And so when you are lacking in roots, and as your family structure too, when people say, oh, go back to your roots, it's your family, you know what I mean? And you have like a lot of family issues and things like that, then it's very difficult for you to find your footing in the world, because your root is your foundation. And so when your foundation has been purposely, when I was a child, my root was purposely actually damaged, to where I would never find my footing in the world. And so I'm not going to go too much into that here, but this is actually, sheds light on Horror Babylon, okay? So when you're damaging a child's root at the beginning of life, and you're purposely creating a situation where they can't find their footing in life, it's going to cause these issues or what have you in the root chakra, in the sacral chakra area. When a child is being abused, they live in the mind, because a child can't really fight back. Like, you have to actually, you have to trust your earthly masters, like, to take care of you. So if those earthly masters are really horrible people, I don't know, you just have to, like, check out. I'm very good at, it's not a good thing to do this, but I'm very good at dissociating. And I've learned this since a little child, to dissociate, to kind of live in my own world. So, when you're being abused, you can't, like, beat the person up, or, kill that person, or tell somebody. You have to find a way, and the brain actually, to protect you, creates a magical world, let's just say, to protect you, because otherwise you would not really survive. You would not survive. And so this creates a psychic. All kids are psychic. All kids have just been, are not far removed from their spiritual self, right? And so, they're trying to get grounded. That's why kids don't like vegetables. Vegetables carry a lot of life force in it, like DMT, what have you. DMT is associated with LSD. So, it's been known that, when you die, your body releases a lot of DMT, which is basically like the hormone that's connected to the subconscious, so what have you. So you start to see a whole lot of crazy shit. So kids, oftentimes, they say they see ghosts and things like that, and they're easily frightened, and they have bad dreams and stuff like that. So this is all because of the subconscious. So kids are trying to get very materialistic. That's why I've tried to get more materialistic lately, and, spruce myself up, go shopping, do whatever I can, just to actually ground Saturn. Things, materials, getting in tune with the body and the sensations of the body and that type of thing. But my consciousness is really super duper high. And so I've been considering doing tantric sex. But the thing is that, with Tantra, it could be dangerous. You know what I mean? I have practiced Tantra with my twin flame. And, it was not the best experience for me. I definitely had a pull for my energy. The thing is that when you have tantric sex, it is a pull on your energy. Okay. You're really trying to find connection, like, to the divine, I should say. And but for the twin, it more so takes away your energy as opposed to gives your energy. So the soulmate gives you energy, whereas your twin flame just takes away your energy. Okay. So it's like, it's very interesting. Like I said, trying to get a charge energetically from your partner during tantric sex. And usually when people have sex, regular human beings, they're having sex for like physical gratification. It's like a physical thing. It's like, oh, I need to, get laid, whatever the case is. But, Tantra is really trying to, like, jumpstart your energy and get like an energy charge. Just kind of like a car. Like, say, like, your car is battery is dead, so you ask somebody, like, hey, can I get a charge off of your battery? And so you put the plugs on and it charges, but that person's battery becomes a little bit weaker. And so the battery will build itself up, but that person, is giving you their energy, so you're taking life in a way, you could say, metaphorically speaking, you are taking life away from them and giving them death. But, but it's not like, I don't know. I hope not to kill anybody, when if I have tantric sex with them. Because, like I said, with my twin flame situation, it was a different situation. So, my twin, actually, he left his body during the act. He left his body and he became lifeless, and I thought that he was dead. Actually, to be honest with you, he became dead for I can't remember how much time it was. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but I don't really have an ego left. So a lot of people, they are very uncomfortable as it pertains to sex or talking about sex and stuff like that. But for me, I don't have an ego, so because of that, I don't see sex as something that should be done in the dark, or sex should be something that you should be ashamed of, or you can't talk openly about, especially when you're an adult, right? And you're not a child. But some kids or whatever, they're forced to have sex when they are little. And so, it's kind of like being an adult or whatever the case is. I'm like, okay, I have to kind of, dissociate myself away from, situations and things like that I've gone through as a kid, and really just look at things from a more objective standpoint as opposed to subjective and emotional. So, like I said, I don't really have very much emotions, okay, as it pertains to lots of things. So, tantric sex can be dangerous. A lot of times they're tantric sex, what is it, like practitioners, like people, like when they're having tantric sex, they'll have somebody there in order to, monitor the act or whatever the case is. Maybe during my experience, I should have had that, because it was a very frightening experience. And the person, just like I said, just died, really. But he came back to life. He came back to life, so it was great. And I didn't really want to talk to him about the whole situation. I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, like, really? it was just like, we didn't really say anything about it, but he knew. My twin flame is an occultist, so he knew exactly what was going on, whereas I was the person that was like in the dark about what the hell is that. But tantric sex is very much a very spiritual sex. It kind of reminds you of have you ever seen that movie, what is it called, Cloud Atlas, right? There's a movie, it's called Cloud Atlas. It's starring Halle Berry and Tom Hanks, and it's a movie about reincarnation. And so these actors, they actually really represent a lot about what I'm talking about, as it pertains to consciousness and existing in different space-time realities. So when somebody like me saying something like you exist in different space-time realities, it's like, oh, that's nonsense. But when you see movies like Cloud Atlas, it actually hints at that. Like, Halle Berry is an Asian person, I think she's a white person, whatever the case is, and yada yada yada. But tantric sex could be, it could definitely be something I feel that would really help me to kind of get more balance. So, I would be able to, really just, be more effective in the world and have more of an impact on myself and, the things I want to do and my goals and stuff like that. And so forth, so it's definitely me time right now. You know what I mean? Or whatnot, but I don't know, I feel that, if you're 144,000, if you basically have this Rh negative blood or whatnot that's lacking protein in your blood, your consciousness is at that pineal, you're listening to new age stuff, whatever the case is, everything is designed to put you in your mind and your psyche and to give you a crown of thorns. Everything is just like, oh, don't eat that, your food is poison, your water is poisoned, and you have to be meditating 24/7 and do this, do that. And so all of that thinking, what have you, it's just fear. You have to do so many things to survive. And so you were perfectly fine before you quote unquote woke up or got activated or whatnot. So this is just to destroy you and to crucify you, like I said, to give you a crown of thorns. And I have so many, I really highly encourage you to look at your Vedic natal chart, right? And it tells you the placements of the planets when you were born. Excuse me, you can do transits and things like that, but I think it's best to have more of a gift of discernment. You can look at them once in a while. But like I said, I have crucifixion, I call them crucifixion placements in my Vedic chart. It's kind of like, oh, I respect, relationships and stuff like that, whereas I don't respect relationships. Or, say I'm very super duper neat, but I'm really sloppy. It's like, with that Saturn and that, Saturn and Jupiter and Virgo, what have you. So, for us, I feel like we have to do lots of drastic things to remedy I guess what you would say, to remedy getting the balance and consciousness or what have you. There's a person I really wanted to actually have tantric sex with. He was such a great candidate, but he's married. And I'm like, darn, that's like my Lilith and Libra placement there. I really, he's a very, very dynamic and charismatic spiritual teacher. And he talks about a lot of new age things and stuff like that I don't necessarily agree with a lot, but I see that one thing about being a psychic, you can see through people's egos, so he's more of a more dominant Aries type person or what have you in the ego, but his astral body is very angelic and just loving and kind and sweet and nurturing. And so when I look at him, I see that. I see his aura. I don't really see him like, he's not somebody that, it's just kind of, I love his ego because I feel like I have to get that masculinity for myself. I love to and I attract people who have that masculinity that I'm lacking, right? And so I appreciate his ego, but I feel like his astral body is very magnetizing as well. And so seeing through that, really makes me very attracted and say, oh, wow, I could definitely get a charge, from this person. But, it is what it is, or whatever the case is. Hopefully I can find a candidate that's single, right? It's somebody that, doesn't have a situation. And so, that could actually help me to get some balance and to help me to really remedy my situation, because I'm a little bit too psychic right now. Everybody's connected to source, and the closer you get to source, the closer you get to death. So, I'm not supposed to be reading people's auras and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, and I can cause a lot of karma for myself, and I have to be careful because you can cause a lot of karma by disclosing psychic information to people. I try to only do it for people who ask, or for if there's a person that I see that really needs it. Like, I can look into the aura and say, oh shit, I better say this. You see what I'm saying? Like if there's something where someone's hurt or something like that, or you know, if I see there's an issue, I will go ahead and disclose the information. And not directly. Sometimes I do it indirectly, whatever the case is, so the person will pick up on it, like, oh, that bitch is talking about me. You know what I mean? Type of thing. Or whatnot. So, you know, I really, you know, try to kind of be careful with that. Don't want to get too much karmic debt, or whatnot, you know, disclosing or breaching people's consciousness. It's not a good thing to do, right? To breach people's consciousness. It's like everybody has their own private thoughts and stuff like that, their own private stuff, and they don't want you meddling around in their minds, you know. And I wouldn't really want anybody to meddle in my mind, unless you know, it was dire, or if it was something that I definitely like needed to know, or what have you, you know, to help, you know, my situation or whatever the case is. So yeah, but you know, that's it for now. Whatever, just want to talk a little bit, like I said, just to recap about the Whore of Babylon, how this is a very polarized soul. And this soul, the solar plexus, because of being reincarnated so many times, you know, there's so many different pockets of consciousness out there, from, you know, other civilizations that have existed. The soul is old, and so our soul is taken away, our melanin is taken away. Like in the book of Revelation, it talks about how, you know, there was a black horse and a red horse and a white horse and then a pale horse, right? All of this represents, horses represents the subconscious. Like in psychology, you know, a lot of times they use horses to represent subconscious. So this is a soul that is subconscious, is existing in different time, space realities. And so the thing is that once you've gone through all those horses, hey, you know, you don't have a soul anymore. You know, your soul has run its course. And so when your soul has run its course, right, you've incarnated, all the times you've incarnated, your, what is it, you know, your will and your creativity having to follow laws and rules and things like that. It's like, I don't want to follow any more laws. I don't want to follow any more rules. You know what I mean? I want to become the masculine aspect of myself. And we see that in a lot of pop culture and stuff like that. Like Cardi B, she represents the Lilith energy, the goddess energy, Kali, right, energy, Lilith. Like in that song Up, what have you. You see how she had all the dolls in her head? These are pockets of consciousness. She's like, I've been restricted for so many lifetimes, and so, you know, Cardi B is very masculine. You know, she's like the Black Madonna, except for they make Madonna look more tasteful, or whatever the case is. But Madonna is that Pleiadian. She represents that Whore of Babylon. She represents that woman that has been incarnated so many times that she's that pale horse, you know, and so she's masculine. She's no longer feminine. And so if you don't really ground that masculine aspect of yourself into the physical, you become a whore, a skeety ass whore, a slut, a degenerate. And so you can see, you know, we call them virgin spirits. That's why in the occult we call Mary the Virgin Mary, because that means that she has not been able to exercise her will in the physical. You know what I mean? And so because of that, virgin spirits become so feminine that they eventually die as saints. You know, they're saints. However, they're just really whorish, you know, in the astral. Oftentimes we get stigmata, right? And so I have been getting afflicted in so many different ways, from, you know, just not being able to exercise my masculine self. And this physical, and every time I try to do so, I have been, you know, cussed out. I've been physically assaulted. I have been, there have been so many different things that have happened to me when I've tried to exercise the will. And so I feel like, you know, like I said, with, you know, certain remedies and stuff like that, and getting more in tune with the body and shopping and doing little things, I guess, whatever, you know, hopefully tantric sex, you know, you know, with the right person and practitioner, maybe, you know, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like maybe it'll help, and hopefully this, you know, this video helps other people as well who, are experiencing, a loss of soul right now, okay? All right, guys, so I think that does it for me, and, I'll see you in my next video.